What are the stages of development according to Winnicott? In the beginning, there was no I, no you, no boundary between self and world. Only cries echoed in the chambers of new life, cries that summoned a mysterious force, the mother. This is not merely a tale of infancy, it is a saga of becoming, of how the helpless evolve into the human, of how kings and queens of selfhood are born through the silent sacrifices of a guardian. Today, we explore the three hidden kingdoms in the psychological life of every child, Winnicott's three stages of development, an odyssey of the mind, a quest of the soul, a blueprint of identity. Let us begin. Imagine the world as seen by a newborn. There is no distinction between what is inside and what is outside. To the infant, thought and reality are one and the same. Hunger, cry, and food appears. Discomfort, wail, and comfort comes. This is the kingdom of subjective omnipotence, where the child, in their psyche, is the all-powerful ruler of the universe. Here the infant believes they cause the breast to appear. They believe their needs summon reality. In their magical kingdom, there is no separation between wish and fulfillment. But here lies the secret. This illusion is not delusion. It is necessary. Winnicott, the British pediatrician and psychoanalyst, believed that this phase of omnipotence is not an error, it is a sacred cocoon. And at the heart of this illusion stands the figure he reveres most, the good enough mother. She doesn't shatter the illusion, not yet. She feeds on time, she soothes without resentment, she holds without intrusion. Her role? To preserve the infant's fantasy of control, long enough for the psyche to begin. Winnicott tells us this. The mother doesn't exist for herself in these moments. She becomes a mirror, a servant, a silent world that bends to the cries of the child. It is not praise that makes her good. It is her ability to adapt, again and again. She creates the illusion that the infant's desires shape reality. It is in this dance of giving that the ego is born. But no illusion can last forever. A storm brews in the distance. The child begins to see. Time passes. The infant begins to sense something strange. Sometimes the breast does not come. Sometimes the world does not obey. The spell of omnipotence is slowly breaking. Welcome to the kingdom of objective reality, a world where the infant begins to realize, I am not all-powerful. The world exists outside of me. The mother is separate from me. It is here that Winnicott introduces his most poetic invention, the transitional object, a teddy bear, a blanket, a toy. It is not merely play, it is not merely comfort, it is the bridge between what is inner and what is outer, between fantasy and fact, between mother and not mother. The transitional object becomes the child's way of coping with the slowly dawning reality of separation. It is the first symbol of independence, yet still tethered to the lost kingdom of omnipotence. But this transition is delicate. Too fast, and the child may fall. Too slow, and the illusion may never break. And so again, Winnicott praises the good enough mother, not for being perfect, but for failing at the right time. She slowly withdraws. She doesn't come immediately. She begins to allow frustration. She permits the cracks to form so the light of reality can shine through. This failure is not abandonment, it is an act of love. The child mourns the illusion, cries out for control once more. But the mother holds space, not just physically but emotionally. She tolerates the child's rage and withstands the storm. And in that storm, the child learns. The world will not always bend, but I can bend with it. Adaptation begins, and with adaptation, maturity. But the journey is not over. The child must face the final kingdom. By now the child has tasted reality. The transitional object lies worn in the corner. The mother's absence is no longer terror, it is space, space to explore, to risk, to fall. This is the kingdom of independence. But independence is not defiance. It is not the rejection of need. It is the recognition that I can need you and still be me. Winnicott describes this stage not as a victory march, but as a fragile state of confidence, built on thousands of moments where the mother was good enough. The child begins to internalize her care. Her gaze becomes self-worth. Her patience becomes inner resilience. Her voice becomes an internal dialogue. And slowly, the external mother becomes an inner mother. The child can now be alone, because once they were safely held. They can tolerate not knowing, because someone once explained. They can forgive, because someone once forgave them. True independence is not cold. It is warm with memory, but beware. If the mother was not good enough, the scars run deep. The child may cling to illusions, or shun all attachment, or lose the self in others, or never trust the world at all. For Winnicott, it is in the mother's ordinary devotion that the extraordinary self is born. Now let us take one step back. Look upon these three kingdoms, omnipotence, reality, independence, and ask, what links them? What invisible road runs through them all? Winnicott called it the holding environment. More than arms, more than home. It is the psychological womb that surrounds the child long after birth. It is consistency, predictability, tender limits, silent understanding. In this space, the child doesn't have to perform to be loved. They simply are. It is in this space that the true self emerges, not the false self that mimics and pleases to avoid abandonment, but the true self, rooted in spontaneity, creativity, and authenticity. Without the holding environment, the child becomes what the world wants, not who they are. But within it, they become. And so our story nears its end. But like all true epics, the end is only a beginning, for every adult carries a child within. Every ruler of the self was once a helpless soul, swaddled in the illusion of omnipotence. Every mature mind once clutched a transitional object in fear of separation. Every independent soul once yearned for the gaze of the good-enough mother. Winnicott's theory is more than child psychology. It is the map of becoming. And for those who never received the holding, the good-enough gaze, the sacred failures that forge strength, take heart. Because healing can recreate what was missed. New relationships can offer what was absent, and in the quiet mirror of empathy, the true self can still be born, even now, even here. And so we end this legend not with an answer but with a question. Who held you when you were small? Who failed you just enough to help you grow? And who might you hold now, as the story begins again? This has been the Chronicles of Legends, a tale of Winnicott, a saga of selfhood. Until next time, remember, behind every psyche there is a history, and every history a legend waiting to be understood.